What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry guys, I actually have a couple of mints in my mouth, so forgive me on that. But today is another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue. This one's gonna be a little different from the last couple episodes, because in this one, I'm actually going to be talking about. This episode is going to be a little different. It's going to be more so of a discussion of some of the top worst Yu-Gi-Oh sets in history, and they could be and with this episode we're more so focused on the we're more so focused on how can I put it? We're basically more so on the time of release, if you will. How why it wasn't good on the day of release. So we're gonna start with and we're gonna be talking about the top 5. So the first one that we're gonna talk about is the most obvious one, which is Secrets of Eternity. This was an interesting set because I'm actually gonna look it up on the Yu-Gi-Oh wiki app, on the Yu-Gi-Oh wiki website. So I kind of remember most, a little bit of the set. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but it was a very interesting set. So the set was released. What is? All right, here we go. Finally, so in the OCG in Japan, it was released on November 15th, 2014. But in the U.S., in North America, it was released January 16th, 2015. This was a set that was more so focused on the entire Performer Pal archetype, basically. And to show, it was more so on, it was more so focused on the Performer Pal archetype, the Infernoid archetype, Cleforts, just those 3 main archetypes, and some of the notable cards that were in this set to showcase how weird this set was. You had Dragoons of Draconia, which was actually the from what I understand, I believe this was actually the sneak preview ultra rare of the set. Some of the more better cards of the set, you have Performer Pal Trump Witch, which I believe that was basically the polymerization for the entire archetype. So you didn't need polymerization to go for a fusion summon. And then also too, we also have Super Heavy Samurai Trumpeter, which was the only tuner of the Super Heavy Samurai archetype before we got more tuner support for the archetype over the years. And then of course we have Infernoid Piatti, which hardly anybody played Infernoids back in the day. Back in the day, it was more so about Cleforts. Cleforts was like the hottest thing going, and this set was more so focused on getting Cleforts into the meta, and this set, I'm gonna be on, and just to name off some of the other cards, we had Morphtronic Smartphone, in which obviously that card was way past its prime, was literally way past its prime. Morphtronics, especially this card in particular, this card Smartphone, again, it was. I think this card should have been released years ago right around the time that Raging Battle was released. We have Jinzo Jaxer, Skill Blue Magician. I think this was the one that gave you. What did this one do? Because I know that Skill Dark Magician would give you Dark Magician. Skill White Magician was, I think, Buster Blader. Red Magician was a Archfiend. And I think this one was... Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so this was basically Gaia support, basically. So this was another card that I feel like should have been released right around the time that Rise of the Duelists came out last summer, because this card, Skill Blue Magician, would have just dominated the meta. Let's see what else. And then of course too. We have Rune Eyes Pendulum Dragon. This was a really bad set, because if there was one card that you would want from the set, truth be told, there was nothing. There was literally nothing you wanted from the set. Because funny enough, this set didn't even do any. This set did nothing for the meta. All it did was just make the meta. It didn't even do anything. And the funny thing is that you would think that because that Rune Eyes Pendulum Dragon was the cover card for the set, you would think that was the Ghost Rare. No. Truth be told, the Ghost Rare was actually a card that a lot of people were more so interested in for Burning Abyss, and that would be Malakota, Netherlord of the Burning Abyss. This was a very unique ritual monster. It's a 6-star, and its effect says you can ritual summon this card with good and evil in the Burning Abyss, which is basically the ritual spell. Must be ritual summoned and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can send a Burning Abyss monster from your hand to the grave, and target a face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn. That target loses its attack and defense equal to the attack and defense of the Burning Abyss monster sent to the grave this way. If this card was sent from the field to the grave, you can target a card on the field and send it to the graveyard. This card was interesting, because when you think about it, this card basically, the Burning Abyss deck was extremely good back then. Even now, it still sees play from time to time. But when you look at a set like Seekers of Eternity, this was this card, and there was one other one that you mostly wanted from the set. Just not for collector purposes, but more so for the meta. So you had Malakota, and then of course the field, and then of course the ritual spell for them. Okay, what is? Okay, my laptop is being stupid. I just updated this thing. I literally just updated this thing, and it's being stupid. It's literally being stupid, guys. I am so sorry. But yeah, so Malakota was like the main one you wanted, and the only other one I think would probably have to be I think, wasn't that like the only one? Yeah, I think that was the only card you would want from the set. Unizombie was another card that a lot of people were more so interested in. So that was another card that you wanted because of how good the set was. So This was so Secrets of Eternity, literally one of the worst sets ever. It did not do anything for the meta. The only two cards that were good in the set were Unizombie, which was a fucking common, and then you also had had that card that I mentioned, Malakota, Netherlord of the Burning Abyss. So if you were if you're if there was ever a booster box that you would not want to get, Secrets of Eternity would probably be the card, would probably be the set, unless if they were to, unless if somebody out there found a way to make most of the cards from the set like broken, like it's not gonna do anything. No, it's just like it's one of those sets that you think it's good, but once you've seen the cards that are in the set, it's nothing. Literally, and the funny thing is, if you were to go to an online store like say Amazon or eBay or whatever, and you were to find a first edition sealed booster, you're gonna be paying like $30. That's how cheap it is. That's how cheap the set is. Because when the set was released, if I remember correctly, it was at like $49.99, so about around 50, maybe $60. But over time, the price just went down and down and down. So that was a bad set. That was a bad set. Another set as well that I wanted to bring up as well is actually cyberdark Impact. I remember that set very clearly because what's funny about that set is that there was nothing good about that set. Yes, it is a nostalgic set. It is a GX set, but it did nothing for the meta. So in Japan, it was released on August 10th, 2006. In the TCG, which is basically here, it was released on November 15th, 2006. This was the set that introduced us to the cyberdark monsters. So obviously, it also featured some of the other I guess some of the other cyber cards for the archetype. I guess you had cyberdark Horn, Edge, Keel, Cyber Ogre, Cyber Esper, as well. You also had the Allure. What is? Seriously, my laptop is being stupid. Finally, here we go. You also had more level monsters, so you had the Allure Queens. You had Allure Queen level 3, 5, and 7. Then you also had Dark Lucius, which was a rather interesting card. You had 4, 6, and 8. You also had Stray Asmodean, Abaki, Snipe Hunter, which was one of the main cards you wanted from the set. Vanity's Fiend, which was another really good one. And then, of course, too, it also featured as well the barrier statues, which you had Abyss, Torrent, Inferno, Stormwinds, Drought, and Heavens. Vanity's Ruler. Literally, out of all the cards that were in the set, the big card you wanted was Snipe Hunter, because if you were to get your hands on that, you could literally pop cards that your opponent would have, as long as you didn't roll a 1 or a 6. Another card as well that was actually pretty decent was actually Black Horn of Heaven, and also too, well, what was the other one? Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion was another really like excellent card. It even now it's still really good. But Snipe Hunter, literally the main card you want. Nowadays people get sets like this for collector purposes only, which in which cyberdark Impact, I remember when the set was released, it was valued at it was priced at like about the same. It was like $50-$60, and then the price kind of went down a little bit after a few years, now, because that we're now under the pandemic still, which honestly no one knows how long it'll last with the, we all know. Oh my god. Now, I mean, for if you're a collector, you'll be paying about several $100s, like several $1,000s at best. So this was another set that didn't even do anything for the meta. Actually, and speaking of that, Star Strike Blast was another really interesting one as well. And what I find interesting about the set Star Strike Blast was that this gave us more Blackwing support, but it also featured a card that was never playable until like many years later, and that card was actually the card to pull. Yeah, Shooting Star Dragon. So some of the more notable cards, some of the cards that were in the set, you had Archfiend Empress, Swift Scarecrow, Rescue Warrior. You again Blackwing. You had Blackwing, a Tessian of Two Swords, Aurora the Northern Lights, Abralos the Mega Quake. You had Power Breaker, Extra Veiler, Creation Resonator, and a card that literally just dominated the meta in terms of summoning synchro monsters, Glow Up Bolt, which now is banned. You also have Scrap Soldier. You also have the Want cards as well. As well, and and also one of the first like big hand traps that was absolutely insane. That would be Droll and Lockbird, actually. So obviously, again, talking about the main cards you wanted, out of all the cards here, Droll and Lockbird, Skullmeister was another one you wanted. Vanity's Emptiness was like the big one as well. What else? Formula Synchron as well was like the big one. Red Nova Dragon as well. Shooting Star Dragon, which was like the card to pull. There again, those were the main cards, but it was almost impossible to summon Shooting Star Dragon because oftentimes your opponent would end up having to destroy Stardust Dragon, and there would be no other way to get Stardust Dragon back because back in these times, Monster Reborn was actually banned. Monster Reborn ended up getting banned back right around the 5Ds era. I know that it got some play right around the Zexal era and then again in the Arc 5 era, but once we got to Master Rule 4, Monster Reborn came back. Monster Reborn came back and it was absolutely insane. So this was another one that didn't do so well back then, but in today's Yu-Gi-Oh, could have been a very interesting one. The other two, actually, another one that I want to bring up is one that everybody knows why it sucked. What is that, you may ask? It is none other than Duels Pack Dimensional Guardians. Hang on, let me... Dimensional Guardians. Literally the worst set you could possibly think of. This set did nothing. I'm telling you guys right now, if you guys are if you guys know Yu-Gi-Oh, this set did absolutely nothing. It was and the funny thing is, it was never released in Japan. It was released in North America, Europe, Oceania France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. So from Europe down, it was released May 25th, 2017. But of course, here in the US, we got it the very next day on the 26th. This set did absolutely nothing for the meta, and like the only card that was like good was I think the only cards that were good were Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon and Scarlet Red Dragon Archmage. Those were the only two cards that were good. Because with Cypher Dragon, it's basically a brain. It's literally a brain control, and Scarlet Red Dragon Archmage is a Regeki. It's basically a dark hole with wings, and literally none of the other cards in the set did anything to the meta, even when the set was released. But if you want to think about like today's format, in today's Yu-Gi-Oh with some of the newer archetypes that we got that we have now, obviously Ben 10 is gonna go up in price. Also too, I think Scarlet. I know that Scarlet Red Dragon Archmage is up there as well. Cypher Dragon is actually I believe is still pretty is still a really a pretty pricey card. In fact, I remember when it was released in, what was it? I want to say Dragon the Legend Unleashed. I remember that I remember it was a secret rare, and it was going for like $40-50. And I remember opening up the box on the channel, which you guys can't check out. I think I spent like I think I spent $50 on that, and I got literally I got most literally all the cards that I got, just the higher end ones. I literally made my money back just from those, which is pretty insane. I think I traded off some of those as well. But yeah, Dimensional Guardians. This is another one of those sets I do not recommend you guys buy. It did not do anything for the meta. All it did was just disgrace the original rarities of those cards. Obviously Scarlet Red Dragon, it was a secret rare, a ultimate rare, and a ghost rare. I think in Dimension of Chaos, this set disgraced the some of the older sets that had those cards. But the big one that I also want to bring up as well is Legacy of Darkness. This is another set that is really interesting. And the reason why I say that is because when you think about older Yu-Gi-Oh sets, and I'm not talking like Zexal or 5Ds. I'm literally talking like GX, Duel Monsters, and era. You hands down, you have to think about Legacy of Darkness. This set was released on June 6, 2003. This was a set that introduced us to the mask, cards. Anyway, some of the big cards you wanted from the set: Yatagarasu, Mask of Restrict was I think it was in the set. Exile Force was another really good one. Reinforcement of the army, still a pretty broken card to this day. What else was in here? Fiend Skull Dragon was a really interesting one. Troop Dragon was interesting. And then of course too, it also introduces to the Spirit Monsters as well. And literally a card that literally just dominated the meta for a hot minute, and that would be Last Turn. This card is still banned to this day, and it basically gives you game. Literally, it does. Another card that was really good was actually Injection Fairy Lily. That literally you pay 2,000 points, and Injection Fairy literally becomes a 3400 beater. Literally. That's how insane that card was. But all the cards that are in the set. Oh, that's right. That's right. Labyrinth of Night. I think Labyrinth of Nightmare was the set that gave us Mask of Restrict. This was the set that again that gave us the Spirit Monster. So the main cards you wanted: Yatagarasu, Injection Fairy Lily, Drop Off, Exile Force, Rhoda. Those were the only ones. Most of the cards here didn't really do anything back then. So some of these cards now, I mean you do see play, with some of these cards from time to time, but yeah, this wasn't even that. It wasn't like super. It was broken, but it wasn't like meta defining. It's kind of similar to what happened with Ignition Assault, where we all know literally the only card in the set that's good in Ignition Assault was Lightning Storm, and then of course too with Phantom Rage that we got just a couple months ago. Obviously Zeus, hands down. So if there was a way that Konami could fix this problem, I think I think the one thing that they could do is put their focus, especially with the newer sets that we're getting now, because with the newer sets, it's no longer about the anime, it's more so about the older archetypes. So focus. So I would say for Konami to focus on the decks that need support, that need to be in the meta. So obviously we're talking. What are we talking? We're talking Black Wings. I know that Black Wings do see some play from time to time, but that's a archetype that needs brand new support in a core booster box that's not Legendary Duelist. I'm just saying. Maybe Black Wings, Morphtronics would be a really interesting one. So that's just my take on it, honestly. That's how I would see it if Konami were to fix an issue like that. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. That brings me to the question of the day: what is in your opinion, what is the #1 worst set of all time? It can be from any era. Let me know in the comments below. And that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue every Friday, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down in the description below. And if you guys have fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, 2021, I will be doing fan mail. My address will be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.